Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Wachowski and I really like Salmon Run. So this is another video where I talk through free freelance games. Sorry it's taken so long to upload. Life is crazy. But this is from the rotation a little while ago on Spawning Grounds, where a lot of people complain about this map, and rightly so, because it's kind of garbage for a lot of reasons. But it also had a very difficult looking rotor, especially for a lot of people, the Hydra and the ink brush. I played this rotation. I got up to 300 EVP before I had a loss. So I figured I would upload 3 games from this rotor to explain the way I play with weapons like the Hydra and the ink brush, because they play very differently with both, and I think it's useful to see the way people play with these weapons. So I've got the Hydra, it's wave 1. I tried to go for the early fish stick kill, but I don't get it. It's fine. And I take the position on top of the fish stick pole that is still there, because as a Hydra, one of the best pieces of advice I could give you is to stay back and be patient. You don't want to be the one primarily focusing on egg running. You want to be focusing on kills. So I use this fish stick pole as my vantage point, and I can see a big shot spawning, and I can just about reach it. But because the steelhead sort of makes me think, I don't go for the kill. But then another one pops up and I go get them both. I run a few eggs, but I immediately come back, because as a Hydra, you're just a sitting duck for things to overwhelm you. I'd recommend staying at basket as a Hydra if you can. I can see there's a fly fish problem, so I go sort out some fly fish and the stinger, because they will make your life so difficult as a Hydra. You know, you're a slow, heavy weapon. There's no ink resistant subs in Salmon Run, unfortunately. So getting rid of those types of enemies will only benefit you. I failed to kill them all because I'm crap at this game. But yeah, we got quota pretty easy. I mean, all these games are freelance, by the way. Like, I don't know any of the people, and they're from like all the games are not in order. They're from different points of the session, so you'll see the quota will vary. You can see I killed the Moors with a Hydra. The Hydra is so powerful, you can kill anything with it. So if you haven't got enough, if you fully charged a bomb, if you fully charged your Hydra and you don't have a bomb, just shoot the Moors. Okay, so now I have the ink brush, and you'll see I will play very, very differently. Immediately I paint this wall, because it's really important on Spawning Grounds to paint this wall. You need an escape route in Spawning Grounds. So immediately as a brush, I throw myself in there. I would only really recommend doing this if you're confident with the weapon you play. Thankfully, my teammates behind me help me deal with the cohocks and the chums, so I'm able to get to the stinger really quickly. One of the things you should be focusing on if you're a weapon like the brush is not necessarily going for kills, but supporting your teammates who can go for kills. My Hydra will struggle with that stinger, so I immediately go for it. Again, I go back to basket and I miss another Moors bombs, actually embarrassing myself on YouTube. I think hanging round by basket as a weapon like the ink brush is super important as well, because you don't have a lot of power. It's quite a tricky weapon to use. So I take care of the bosses at baskets, which is stickfish, Moors, drizzlers, if I can get them, floppers, you know. You can see I'm just sort of patient. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like an aggressive patient. It's like I wait for things to come to me, because at basket I have the most control over what's happening. Ink strike is very good for fish sticks, just deletes them from existence. Unfortunately all my team die, but I'm in a super safe space here, so when your team die, all the bosses will be lured onto you, so I back off. And I know, like, you're looking like quota, but me surviving there was more important. I can go for quota after I guarantee my safety and res a teammate. So one of the important things as an ink brush as well is just to like constantly be moving as well, because you're kind of weak with this weapon. So here's a weapon. The reason why I wanted to show you this rotor as well is because in Splatoon 2, I use stick controls for most of the game. Okay, so from 2017, when it came out, until December 2021, I used stick controls. And my reasoning was, is because I've played a lot of console shooters before. So using motion just didn't seem intuitive to me at first. So I used sticks, and it wasn't until I started streaming did I realise I was one of the odd ones out. So the H3 was a weapon I could never ever use. And I remember I was streaming a rota a while ago, and someone said they noticed whenever I got H3, I mained bombs instead of the weapon. I just found it incredibly difficult to use. I've since switched to motion. It's been almost a year since I've been playing motion. The struggle was real for the first few months, but now I feel completely comfortable and confident with motion controls. The H3 feels so much better. It's one of those weapons that was built with motion in mind. So you will struggle with the H3 if you don't use motion. For that reason alone, I would recommend using motion, because it's a really powerful weapon, but it's not an easy weapon. So as H3, I primarily focus on boss kills here and put in a lot of damage into cohocks. Again, you can see I'm hanging around basket. I try to lure as much as I can, but I'm also sort of taking care of lessers and staying alive. Staying alive is so important as well. I've been through that in my other videos. If you're new here, please go watch my other videos. It's full of useful tips and advice. So I noticed 2 players go down, but quota needs to be met. And we make it, and I run away. Because the most important thing in freelance is to get quota and run away. Like, you don't overfish. You're not going for high scores. You just want to win. Yeah, and I need to cool off, so I jump into the water. So yeah, this rota was difficult. I understand why people didn't like it, because the weapons are quite a high skill ceiling. But definitely, like, playing them differently. The H3, I kind of play aggressive but patient as well with that weapon, because it's so powerful, but you're stood still as you're shooting, and you can get overwhelmed quite quickly because you're a bit of a slow weapon. So it helps to be cautious with that weapon too. But yeah, let's go to the next game. So this is the second game. It's from the same rota. I had a lot of fun with this rota. I mean, spawning grounds is tough because high tide is really small, and there's a lot of grates, there's a lot of uninkable surface. And I tend to play a lot of freelance because I genuinely think freelance is one of the best ways to improve your skill, because you kind of have to focus on doing everything yourself. You can't communicate with your team, you don't know what they're like. So anytime there's a challenging rota like this, you'll see me online playing it, because I always want to improve. I always want to find ways to get better with weapons. Like I mentioned with the H3, I feel so much better with that weapon, and it took like brute forcing playing rotations. The Hydra is one of my favorite weapons ever. I actually main that weapon now, in the PvP aspect of Splatoon 3. So I'm a big fan of it. I actually can't remember what this is. Why am I showing Mothership? Bro, guys, this is High Tide Mothership. Oh, yeah. I think I have the wrong clip. This might be the wrong video. If it isn't, then I'm just going to keep this in. I don't know why I picked High Tide Mothership. Maybe I thought it was cool with the H3. And maybe we get a good score. I don't know. But Brad, like, if you're the brush, I would just focus on running around collecting eggs here, right? And, you know, the Chinooks don't take a lot of damage, so there are no real threats on this unless you don't open enough crates and don't get enough Eggos, right? So you'll see here I'm constantly focusing on opening crates, even when my teammates are shooting the Mothership, because they have enough power in the Enzap and the Hydra, even though the Hydra unfortunately dies there. But I focus on popping Chinooks open and getting the golden eggs so that there's more eggs for us. That strat doesn't always work because your teammates might be doing the same thing. So that's like a variable thing. I would, you know, see what your team are like depending on whether you want to do that strat. There really isn't much to talk about with Mothership. I don't know why I'm showing you this. Maybe I was impressed by how good I am with the H3 now. Listen, if you're new here, I'm not arrogant. It's just a joke. Like, I'm just stupid. I get bullied by some lessers here, so I go back to basket and help shoot the Mothership. Get rid of it real quick, and yeah, we've got quota comfortably here. Maybe I was gonna run some eggs, but my brush stole it. And anyway, so yeah, there's not much to say about Mothership. Yes, I post wave people. Cancel me. What are we doing here? So we got the end zap. The end zap is one of the easiest and simplest weapons to use in Salmon Run. It is literally just point and shoot. Oh, maybe I showed you this one because it's a fog wave and maybe something cool happens in fog. I don't know. So end zap is also really good at turfing. So if you get the end zap, you can do a lot to support your teammates here by turfing and putting a lot of just like residual damage into things. You see me protecting my Hydra there. The small fries will bite your ankle as a Hydra. If you're a support weapon like the end zap, please look after your Hydra. Your Hydra will have such a good time shredding everything if it doesn't have little buddies trying to bite at their ankles, you know. So yeah, I'm sort of helping my teammates here, hanging around basket. I'm also as well keeping an eye on what my Hydra is doing, because I know a lot of people hate spawning grounds because it can be tough with slow, clunky weapons. My Hydra is rightly so remaining at basket and shooting from afar, but they potentially might run into moors or, you know, small fry and stuff, so I'm there helping them, taking care of some bosses that I can. End zap is generally an all-rounder weapon. It can deal with every boss really well. It doesn't have as much DPS as you think it does. Most people make the mistake of running in with it and dying. But it's still it's an incredibly solid weapon, and I think it really suits this comp because the Hydra, even though the Hydra turfs well, it's a slow turfer. The brush only paints for itself and the H3 only paints for itself. So having something like the end zap really complements this rotor. Another reason why I wanted to play it. So my main focus here right now is just staying alive. Like, I'm not running eggs. I'm not putting myself in dangerous positions. I'm either running away like a coward and painting, because I know next wave I'm going to get Hydra or a brush and I won't be able to paint. Not efficiently as an end zap anyway. So always paint between waves if you're not dead. So I got my favourite weapon in the game, the Hydra Splatling. I absolutely love this weapon. And I concentrate on just painting a bit more, especially sort of around basket where you're going to be hanging. I've also got 2 inkjets, which is amazing. I can't quite get the first spawn. It gets triggered before I'm there, so I sort of hang back with my charge ready to get it on the next cycle. I try to go for the early fish stick kill again, but you know, I can't quite manage that at the moment. Maybe in the future I'll find a way to do it. I can see a stinger, and I kind of eye it for a second with the fly fish. I'm like, what should I do here? And I see my teammate go down. I'm like, okay, there's another stinger. Okay, so it's time to inkjet. Your specials are overpowered and they're there to help you. And as a Hydra, I don't have mobility on my side. I managed to clear the stingers and a steelhead and a fly fish there. As a Hydra, you will suffer if you try to do that. I actually didn't kill the stinger right of basket. I left a baby. Shout out to Shawumi. If you're not following her on YouTube, please follow her. So the basket is looking extremely chaotic right now. There's a big shot, there's fly fish, there's that stinger that I didn't end up like killing, unfortunately. I go back for it because I'm not happy that I left it alive. I go for the fly fish as well, pick up an egg and then just kill my inkjet. You can see we've got 20 seconds left and I still need some eggs. Finishing out my inkjet is just not the right thing to be doing there. With the Hydra, you can get the flipper flopper in the air, but I was more, I wanted to concentrate on turf more than anything there. I go for the far egg that's a bit further from basket because I know my teammate is going to go for the ones close to the basket, and we managed to clutch quota. I think that's why I picked this clip, because we clutched quota. You know, and it's just really important to feed on those like visual signals. Like that 20 seconds left, it's flashing orange. I'm using an inkjet, sure, but like what's the point of using the inkjet further than that, right? So I do what I want as an inkjet, which is get rid of the stinger and the fly fish, which are 2 massive threats to a Hydra, pick up an egg and go back to basket, especially when quota is far away. Like you haven't met quota. Like, don't burn your specials in the last 10 seconds. Don't panic. All right, last one. I genuinely can't remember which clips I've picked because I chose these clips probably like a week or 2 ago, whenever this rota happened, and I've kind of just left it and I'm waiting. So, yeah, I have no idea what the next clip is. And I hope it's a bit more interesting than Mothership. But yeah, I had a really good time with this rota. It's challenging. You know, I managed to get up to 300 without a loss. But after that, I think the quota starts to get really high that you tend to suffer if you don't have, like, good control. And I think in the game that I lost, which would have been the one after this, I didn't have good control as a Hydra. I was debating whether to use that clip, actually. Now I remember. I was debating whether to use that clip, but the first two waves were so boring. I didn't want to, because I think one was Mothership, and one, I think it was Seeking again. Anyway, so I'm a brush. It's Seeking. They find it quite quickly, which is good. In Splatoon 3, Seeking is not as terrible as Splatoon 2, because the lessons only come from the correct gusher now and from the sea, so you don't have to worry. So as a brush, I help with damage, and I also go open shoots because I'm the fastest weapon here. Anyway, I open the wrong shoots, my teammates find it. I can't do much damage to the Goldie. My poor little fingers can't do that. So I help clear the way, but I'm also running eggs. That's pretty much it. I would say don't overextend here as a brush. Like, those cohorts will smack you. Those chum will smack you and you'll go flying. I would say just concentrate on your role, which is being a nuisance and collecting eggs, right? You know? So yeah, I go help with some damage, but you know, for me, I think it's more important to run quota, even though we're quite comfortably over quota now with 30 seconds left. I find the brush quite difficult to use because my hands don't allow that repetitive movement for a long time. It's the same with the H3, the L3, any of these sort of semi-automatic weapons or sloshers. I do struggle with them because, you know, my hands are quite fragile after years of playing video games. I don't know how people do it any faster, like the brush strokes any faster than what I do. I physically can't comprehend it. Anyway, not much to see here. Maybe this is why I put it in. I'm just messing around with a Goldie. Taking pictures of the Goldie stuck in the sky. So what have we got? So one of the things that I think is worth sharing is anytime you start a game is to keep an eye on your weapon and keep an eye on your special. So I have Killer Whale here, and I have H3. But immediately we see some big shots spawning. With fly fish, these are garbage first spawns, and you just want to take care of them ASAP, which we do. We get rid of the fly fish, we get rid of the big shot. You can see me sort of debating what to do here, and I think I'll go run an egg, but then I don't even pick up an egg. And I'm here with my Hydra, and I'm like, we shouldn't be here. Let's go back to basket. Let's go put the eggs in that you shot from the cannon. So that's what I do. There's no point camping the big shot cannon. You'll just die. If you haven't got a weapon that can deal with hordes of stuff very efficiently, like a sploosh or a dapples, you will just die. And don't do that, because you'll die so far away. So I just hang at basket for a bit. I try and lure some spawns, so I get a drizzler to jump to me. Yeah, I'm just constantly moving, right? Constantly throwing bombs, killing chum, keeping an eye on the bosses that are coming through. It's nothing like super crazy. But you can see that I'm constantly just moving. I can see a stinger spawning, which scares me because I almost die here actually, because of the rain. I look at it and then decide no, because there's a stinger behind me that I don't even think I get with the Killer Whale, because its aiming is interesting. I kind of miss Stingray from Salmon Run only, not from the PvP side of the game. Killer Whale's decent, but Stingray you have more control over. I do get the stinger actually, and we get a comfortable win. You guys can afford to avoid one stinger. Like, if there's only one stinger on the map and you've got 10 seconds, you want to get quota, you can afford to ignore it. One stinger's not going to be the end of the world, but if there's two and they're both on different sides of the maps and they're crisscrossing and you're like a Hydra, then use your specials. Or pray to God that you've got teammates that will help you take care of them. So yeah, immediately more garbage spawns. I miss my jump because I'm a slow, clunky weapon. But yeah, my teammates do a really good job here of just completely clearing this mess. Fly fish and big shot spawns again. but we clear it immediately, and I just pick up an egg and come back to basket, because again, you don't want to camp that. Something else will spawn, like that steelhead will spawn down there, and you would just cause it to stay. And you don't want to do that. You want to bring as much as you can back to basket. I was going to go collect those eggs, and then I think, oh, my teammate's going to do it. So I'll keep an eye on the bosses that are coming through, which is stickfish. Again, stickfish. Oh, I'm just making up bosses. Fish sticks are really annoying as a Hydra. Do your best to get rid of them ASAP, or hope that you've got teammates that will do that for you. Especially on this map. I think one of the reasons why people don't like this map, even more so than Splatoon 2, is because we look at the placements of the fish sticks. Like, they're both at basket. They will both make your life hell. So I see a stinger spawning on the other side of the map, and I go to use my killer whale, but I accidentally fall off the platform, rather unfortunately. That was not part of the plan. But I managed to get rid of this, the stinger far away. And I see the quota has been met, and I just run away. I just run away. Like, as a Hydra, I'm going to have a bad time if I try and play a bit more dangerously. There's no point, you know? Stand back, be patient, accept your win. You know, we've got quota. Happy days. You don't need to do more than that. All right? I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed, you know, understanding how my brain works when I play. And this is literally me just chatting away as I'm watching the gameplay back. And it's more or less how I feel when I'm playing, and it's constantly like moving, constantly seeing what's spawning, and realizing the limitations of your weapon. The Hydra is powerful, but it's extremely limited in mobility. The brush is very fast, but it's not very strong. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know. Sorry, I will try not to make this as long gap as the next one. But yeah, thank you very much. I will see you soon. Bye bye.